Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about factoring trinomials when a does not equal 1. And just in case you guys don't know what that symbol means, it means does not equal. Okay, let's go and get started. Now, in this first example, we have a situation where we have a trinomial, but in this case, a, which is right here, remember, this is your a, this is your b, and this right here is your c. In this case, a is equal to 1. Okay, now this is a pretty simple case. You just, what multiplies to get to c, which is 20, it then turns around and adds to get to 12, and then you'd set it up like x plus 10, and then you have x plus 2. But let's say the problem was changed to this. 2x squared plus 24x plus 40. Now in this case, a is now equal to 2. Well, that changes things up now. Now, the thing that you need to look at is you need to look at your numbers, what we have. We have a 2, we have a 24, and then we have a 40, okay? The first thing that you always need to ask yourself is this question. Can I factor anything out before breaking the trinomial into parentheses? And I have like little symbols that show parentheses, which is right there. Now, if you look at 2x squared, 24x, and 40, I can't factor out an x because the 40 doesn't have an x, but I can factor out a 2. So when I factor out a 2, I'm going to put a 2 on the outside, and then on the inside it becomes x squared plus 12x plus 40. And now we have a situation where we have a trinomial where a, in this case, is now equal to 1 in this case. And so here we'll just divide it up as if we were breaking up any trinomial. Now we're just leaving the 2 on the outside just because it's there now. And so it becomes x plus 2, and then it becomes x plus 20. And you're probably screaming at the screen right now. That should have been 20, so my fault on that. All right, and I don't know why I put 20 there. That should be 10. Sorry, my fault. All right, so there you have it. Let's try another example. Here's our next example where you have 2x now to the third power plus 24x, that should be squared, plus 40x. I'm making mistakes all the time. All right, here we go. Okay, so once again our question, can I factor anything out before breaking the trinomial into parentheses? Yes, I can. I can actually factor out a 2x because each part of the trinomial has an x attached to it, so you can get rid of the x, and then of course the 2, the 24, and the 40 are all, you can factor 2 out. So that becomes x squared plus 12x plus 20. And then from here, you follow the same rules as there before. Okay? So now that you know how to do that, let's turn up the difficulty a little bit. All right, here's our next example. 2x squared plus 7x plus 5. Once again, a is equal to something other than 1. So a is equal to 2, b is equal to 7, and lastly, c is equal to 5. All right, now, once again, our question still remains. Can I factor anything out before breaking the trinomial into parentheses? And the answer in this case is no. I can't do anything because it's 2x squared, the 7x, and 5. There's no common factor. All right, so that means we're going to have to break it up with a equaling 2. So here's the first thing I want you to do. Step 1 is multiply a times c. So I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to multiply it by 5. When I do that, I get 10. Okay? And so my next step would be finding a number combination. So I need to find a number combo where what are two numbers that multiply to get to AC, and then what are the same two numbers would add to get to B? Well, in this case, in this example, AC is equal to 10 and B is equal to 7. Okay, so what's a number combination that multiplies to get to 10 and adds to get to 7? Feel free to pause the video if you want to try to figure it out on your own, but I'm going to go ahead and move on. Well, it's 2 and 5. 2 times 5, and then 2 times 5. Okay? Now, for our next step, which is step 3, just kind of watch how I do this, okay? I'm about to take my trinomial, and I'm going to put two pairs of parentheses right up underneath it. I'm dropping my a, which is my whole 2x squared, and I'm dropping my c, I'm dropping it down here. So you get 2x squared, and then you get plus 5. Now, as you can tell, there's two more spots to fill in. Okay, so what goes in this spot and what goes in this spot is our number combination, our number combo, which in this case was 2 and 5. So I'm going to put 2 and 5, and I'm going to put them into this parenthesis. Now, the one thing you have to remember about this, when you plug them back into the parenthesis, is that you have to attach an x to each. So where you have 2 and 5, it's now going to be 2x and 5x. Now, it doesn't matter where you put the 2 and 5. If you want to put the 2x right here, that's fine. If you want to put the 5x right here, you can do that. Or you can switch them out. It doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer. So step 3 was nothing more than fill in the parentheses. Okay. Step 4 is going to be factor each parenthesis. All right. So what that means is taking this here, what can I factor out of 2x squared and 2x? Well, I can factor out of 2x. So when I do that, I'm left with x plus 1. Okay, what can I factor out of this second parenthesis? Well, I can factor out a positive 5, which means I'm at x plus 1 again. Now notice here, my two parentheses have to match. All right, they have to be the same. If they're not the same, you messed up. Okay, now for step 5 is our final answer. Now watch how I write this because it's hard to explain. I just got to show it to you. All right, so for our final answer, I'll write everything in black here. Here's my answer is going to be in two parentheses. I'm going to take what I factored out and I'm going to put it in one parenthesis. So a 2x goes there, a 5 goes here. There's my plus. And then I'm going to take one of these parentheses that are exactly the same, and I'm going to put it right there. So I'm just going to drop this parenthesis right there. And that's my final answer. And I'm sure you're probably going to want to see another one. So let's try another one. All right, here's my next problem. Okay, going back to the previous slides, hopefully you already had all that written down. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply a times c, and I'm going to get negative 20. So I need to find what two numbers multiply to get to negative 20, yet the same two numbers add to get to positive 8. Okay, now while I'm thinking about that, I'm going to go ahead and write in my next step, which are my two parentheses here. So I'm going to drop 4x squared, which is right here, and I'm going to drop negative 5, which is right here, which is minus 5. And now I'm going to need my number combination. Now if you remember, my number combination goes right here. Well, my number combination is going to be negative 10 and positive 2. So when I plug in my negative 10 and positive 2, I'm going to put negative 10x, and I'm going to put 2x. And then I'm going to factor out each parenthesis. So when I factor out each parenthesis, I end up with 2x, which is equal to, which ends up being x, oh, I'm sorry, 2x minus 5. Now notice that this parenthesis, nothing can really be factored out, but something still needs to be factored out to hold the spot, so it's going to be a 1 I'm going to factor out. 2x minus 5. My parentheses match, so for my final answer, it's 2x plus 1, and then 2x minus 5. And let me just draw a couple arrows so you can see. 2x squared is there, 1 goes there, and one of my same parentheses go right there. Let's try one more. Okay, here's my next problem here. Feel free to pause the video right now if you need, if you want to do this by yourself. So pause it right now. All right, let's solve it. First thing I'm going to do is multiply 4 times negative 2. I get negative 8. So what two numbers multiply to get to negative 8, yet then the same two numbers add to get to positive 7? Well, my number combination is going to be negative 1 and then positive 8. So my next step, draw my parentheses, once again drop the a, which gives me 4x squared. Drop your c, gives me negative 2. My number combination, I'll write in blue here, is going to be negative 1x and that gives me positive 8x. Now, you don't have to put the 1x, you just put x, but I just did that just so you can see it. So I'm going to factor out an x here, and when I factor out an x, I get 4x minus 1. I'm going to factor out a 2 here, and I end up getting 4x minus 1. Once again, our parentheses match, so for my final answer, it'll be x plus 2, and then that'll give me 4x minus 1. There's my final answer. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching.